Hello and welcome to Healing Touch Review of Techniques Level 3. I'm Ann Day and I'm a certified Healing Touch practitioner and instructor. I have taught these classes for over 20 years to thousands of students, and I'm committed to this work and bringing it to you through these DVDs. I'm also a certified holistic nurse, a massage therapist, and I have a master's degree in health and wellness. I'm dedicating these videos to Janet Menken, the founder of Healing Touch and the founder of Healing Touch International, which is now known as Healing Beyond Borders. Janet was a nurse and a healer, and in collaboration with the American Holistic Nurses Association, they created a certificate program in Healing Touch in 1989, which integrates the work of many different healers, including Janet's own healing work. In this Level 3 instruction, Janet teaches us a higher level of vibrational work using and adapting some of the techniques from Barbara Brennan and Rosalind Bruyere. We recommend the books Hands of Light and Light Emerging by Barbara Brennan as helpful resources for this level of class. This is the third in a series of 4 Healing Touch technique review videos. I hope that you have Healing Touch Review Video 1 and 2 and that you found them helpful in your practice. The purpose of these videos is to provide visual aids for you to practice the techniques of each level and become more proficient with them. I trust that if you're watching this video, you've taken a Level 3 class. As you practice, you will deepen your understanding and your experience of this high-level vibrational work. These videos are not meant to replace taking classes. In the classes, the students learn hands-on techniques, and they also receive much healing touch for themselves. So the energy of the class is very important. It's a very experiential class, and the energy of the group, as well as the energy of the instructor, helps to deepen the understanding and experience of these techniques. As I said in the Level 1 and 2 Review of Techniques videos, I'm demonstrating these techniques as I learned them from Janet Menken many years ago, and as I've taught them for over 20 years. These techniques were put together in a standardized program according to standardized learning objectives, and they're taught the same all over the world. However, there may be slight differences in how your Level 3 instructor taught these techniques. The important thing to remember is to set the intention as you begin to do this work and trust that energy will follow intent. In this Level 3 class, we talk about a quantum leap in the healing experience. We teach students how to raise their vibration to facilitate higher, deeper healing work. In this class, we first begin with the Hara alignment. This Hara alignment helps healers to connect so that they can do a higher level of energy work. Setting the Hara line, spinning the chakras, and expanding the core star allows the healer to access much higher, finer vibrations of energy, which often will reduce the time needed to do the healing work. One way of describing this experience is imagining that you're plugging into 220 current instead of 110. This higher vibration is not uncomfortable, and as you practice it, you will be able to work at higher vibrational levels of energy with all of your Healing Touch techniques. In this class, we teach 4 dimensions of energy bodies. The first dimension is the physical body, which we're all very familiar with. The body systems, the bones, the skin, the muscles, the organs. But the second dimension is one that you begin to learn in Level 1 and 2, the auric body. And the auric body includes the chakras and the energy fields. In this class, we teach 7 layers of the energy field, and I will describe all 7 of the layers once I finish talking about the 4 energy dimensions. The 3rd energy dimension is the Haric body. This is a line that holds our intentionality for our lives and on a daily basis. It begins in an individuation point above our head, a couple feet above the head, which is connected to the universal energy source. It then comes down through the body to a point just below the collarbones behind the breastbone called the soul seat. The soul seat holds the song of our soul's deepest longing for us in this lifetime. It then moves down to a point just below the navel and the upper abdomen, deep within, called the Dantian, a powerful balance point that's used in many martial arts. From this point, the Dantian, that laser beam goes right straight down to the core of the earth, accessing the healing vibration of the earth's energy. So this is a whole dimension deeper, a quantum leap deeper than the auric body. The 4th dimension energy body is called the core star. This is again a quantum leap deeper within the body, and it is our connection to our divine source, the radiance of the essence of who we are. It's right in the center of the body, and it radiates out in 360 degrees, and it goes through all 7 layers of the field. This is our essence that radiates out with the core star. So that is the 4 dimensions of energy bodies. And so now I'd like to describe the 7 layers of the auric body as we teach in level 3. The first layer is the etheric layer that's right close to the physical body. It's fine blue lines. It's right outside the physical body, just a couple inches. The second layer of the field is called the emotional field. The emotional field is more fluid and multicolored depending on your emotions. People who are very happy, the emotional field goes out and radiates out. And as well, people who are angry, that emotional field can radiate out quite a ways. So it's a very fluid body, and the colors change depending on the emotions that the person's experiencing. The 3rd layer of the field is the mental layer. The mental layer is made up, again, of structured lines, light yellow in color, and has to do with our thoughts. So our thought patterns are more structured if you think about it, and that is the 3rd layer of the field. All of these fields interpenetrate, but the 3rd layer goes out a little further. The 4th layer of the field is called the astral field. This field is actually connected to the heart chakra, and so it's more fluid again, but it has a lot of rose color, the vibration of unconditional love. So it's very fluid, it's very flowing. The 5th layer of the field is called the etheric template. Again, this is more structured. It actually is like a blueprint of the physical body. So when you experience the etheric template, it's more structured, more lines, but like a blueprint of the body. And this holds the energy of divine will. The 6th layer of the field is called the celestial layer. Again, a very much more fluid layer. This layer that goes out quite a ways is filled with multicolored lights. It's very flowing, it's high vibrational, so it almost looks like multicolored lights to many people, or is experienced as multicolored lights. The 7th layer of the field is called the etheric template. This is the furthest layer of the field. It's very structured again, and it's like a fine golden egg around the outside of the field. And this is connected to divine mind. That's why it's called the etheric layer. In the level 3 class, we teach students the hara alignment, chelation, And spinal cleansing the first day as important pieces, important techniques to put together. And then the second day, there are more techniques in the morning, and then the student puts them all together in the afternoon in the full healing sequence, 9 steps. The same 9 steps we taught you in level 2. So I'm going to demonstrate the whole 9 steps so that you see the sequence the way you would do it with a client. So I'm going to take the very beginning with the intake. I want to introduce you to our wonderful model here today, Sierra. And so Sierra, tell me a little bit about how you're doing and how you're feeling today, and if there's any health challenges you have.
Well, I recently had a schedule change, so I'm adjusting to my sleep patterns. I recently started working night shift, so I've been feeling a little extra tired and sometimes a little run down if I don't get enough sleep, which I've been trying to, but certain circumstances have made me kind of wake up too early and not get enough sleep. So kind of struggling with that. And recently I've had a lot of anxiety with my family. There's some things just going on there, and kind of falls on me a little bit. So I've been struggling with the anxiety and kind of managing it. I'm doing well, but I definitely always need a little help with managing that. And I think with that, I've kind of had some like mid back pain, kind of just soreness there, kind of radiates up to my neck sometimes. So.
Okay, and is that usually where you have physical symptoms when you're under stress?
Usually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the
right
back and the
my shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because people tend to have specific patterns that manifest in their physical body when they're under stress. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'd like you to just lay down and get comfortable.
Okay.
So the second step of the full healing sequence is healer preparation. And for this, you want to take a moment to center, to ground, and set intention for the highest and best for your client. So at this point, I'm just going to take you briefly through a centering as I do it myself. So take a nice deep breath. It's good to practice this with me as you watch or listen. You can close your eyes or leave them open. Just go within and allow yourself to let go of any outside interferences, mental, any noises, any thoughts that have been going around in your head about things to do. Just let all that go. Be totally present in this moment. Feel yourself connected to the earth and grounded. Feel your energy centers open and radiant. And now set the intention for the highest and best for the person on the table. So that is the healer preparation. The third step of the full healing sequence is to do an energy assessment, your pre-treatment energy assessment. So I'm going to demonstrate this. We always start first with the pendulum and then with the hand scan. So I usually start over the legs. It's not a rule that you have to start from the bottom and work up. You can also check the chakras from the top down. And as I said in the second video, because of the polarity of the body, I do find that the chakras in the legs often go counterclockwise on one side and clockwise on the other. This may not be true for you, but it is common to have a little bit of difference between right and left side. Now I'm going to assess over the major chakras, starting with the root. When it's clockwise like that, it's open. This is what I would call an open medium-sized chakra. Now I'm over the solar plexus, checking the heart chakra. And this is pretty much open, but it's just a little bit erratic, a little bit at an angle, so probably needs a little boosting. Over her throat, because it's moving horizontally, that tells us that there's a little bit of energy compromise in her throat. And if you remember on the intake, she said she was having a little bit of neck and shoulder issues. So it really fits with what she told us at the beginning. Over the sixth chakra, nice and open, clockwise, and over the crown, open. I didn't tell you that Sierra is also a healing touch practitioner, so she probably works on herself, which accounts for this nice general balancing I'm seeing in her energy. Now I'm checking her arms, the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder, which are open, and also on the left side, wrist, elbow, and shoulder. Now that I've checked the major and the minor chakras, I'm going to do my hand scan. In level 3, we teach students how to begin to feel the 7 layers of the field. This is a little bit different than when you were feeling the energy in level 1 and 2. It's not a requirement that you can sense all 7 layers of the field, but the more you practice it, the more sensitive you become to feeling those layers. If you remember when I described the 7 layers just a few moments ago, that layers 1, 3, 5, and 7 are more structured. So those are the ones you're going to feel with your hands the easiest. So we start out as far as you can reach and look for the edge of that energy field. You start to sense a feeling as though you're coming into a cloud, a little bit of a feeling of resistance on your hands. It's a very nebulous description, so it's kind of hard to describe real specifically, but you begin to feel a sensation on your hands with that 7th layer. It's more structured, so I'm feeling it way out here with Sierra. Then you float through the 6th layer, the celestial, which is more fluid, and you start to feel another layer. This is the 5th layer. So you're going to feel those structured layers more easily. So I'm sensing the 5th layer of the field. Then I float through the next fluid layer, and I come down to what feels like another structured layer, which is your 3rd or mental layer of the field. So we just sense where that is, if it's even. And then you float through another fluid layer, which is your 2nd layer, and coming closer to the body. Remember that 1st layer is quite close to the body and again is more structured. That's your first etheric layer of the field. So you've felt the 7 layers starting out here with the etheric template, more structured, floating through the celestial, more fluid, coming to the 5th layer, the etheric template, floating through the 4th, the astral, to the 3rd layer, the mental, floating through the 2nd, down to the 1st etheric layer of the field. So that is how you feel the 7 layers. You also want to go back, just as you did in level 1 and 2, and notice a little closer to the body whether you feel any congestion, any prickles, any coolness, or differences in heat and balance as you feel through the shoulders and the neck and all the way down the body, just assessing all the way down the body. So that finishes your pre-treatment energy assessment. So the 4th step of the full healing sequence is your healer appraisal, and that is sometimes called the problem statement. And so for that, you put together what you heard from the client with your assessment. So for a healer appraisal for Sierra today, I would say energy compromises over the throat and the neck related to stress of her personal and work life. So it needs to be just concise, putting together the energy assessment with what she told you in the intake. So for mutual goals, I will set the goal and ask Sierra. So let's focus today, if it's all right with you, with balancing, reducing your stress, and really opening and clearing that throat and shoulder area. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Sierra?
No, I like that.
Does that feel complete?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that completes the step of the mutual goal setting. So now we are going to go to our healing touch interventions, which is our 6th step. To begin the level 3 healing interventions, we start with the Hara alignment. So I'm going to lead you through that alignment to review it for you. In the class, the first alignment, we do very slowly and very deeply. And if you want that meditation reviewed for you, you can download my Hara alignment CD and then practice it in a longer version, which also includes a shorter version once you get more comfortable with it. But today I'm going to review it as you would standing, preparing to do the chelation. So we begin the Hara alignment by going deep within to the Hara line, to the first point that we go to on the Hara line, which is the Dantian. The Dantian is a powerful ball of energy in your abdomen, just below the navel a couple inches, and it is a balance point. And again, it's a deep dimension along the Hara line, the line of intentionality within you. So just take a moment to breathe into that, experience it. You might want to put your fingers on it. That's not required, but sometimes it helps to just identify it with your fingers. And then breathe into it. It's a small ball of energy. Some people say it's about the size of a golf ball or a small rubber ball, but however you visualize it, just sense that Dantian. Breathe into it. And then drop a laser beam of light from the Dantian straight down through your body, through the floor, down to the core of the earth. As you get more comfortable, it goes down quickly. It's thousands of miles to the core of the earth, but you get very used to dropping that line, connecting it to the core of the earth. Once you sense that you're at the core of the earth with your Hara line, anchor it there in whatever way feels best to you, but anchor it into the core of the earth and leave it in place for this time of healing, because this is going to access the flow of earth energy up your Hara line into your own energy field. So as you anchor that in, you begin to feel a bubbling up of energy into the Dantian. The earth energy is a healing vibration, and as it comes up, bubbling up like an artesian well into your Dantian, it begins to activate the Dantian for healing and activate all of your energy flow along the Hara line. So it might feel like it's getting warm or even hot as you sense that energy coming up into your Dantian. Then, when you feel that that is energized, you move up the Hara line to that point just below the collarbones behind the breastbone called the soul seat. The soul seat holds the song of your soul. It's a very spiritual point that holds your soul's deepest longing for you in this life. So I like to take a moment when I'm at this point to remind you to ask yourself, am I dancing my life in rhythm with the song of my soul? Very beautiful. Then continue up your Hara line to that point a couple feet above your head called the individuation point. The individuation point is like an inverted cone. It connects us to universal oneness. So your Hara line now is in alignment from the individuation point and universal connection down through the soul seat, through the Dantian, and to the core of the earth. Remember, this holds your intentionality. So along your Hara line, it's a good idea to reset your intention for the highest and best, for this healing treatment, for the energy coming through you, and for the client to receive on the table. The next part of the heart alignment is sensing the energy of the earth coming up through your feet and legs into your hips and flowing into the root chakra. Now in the class, we teach you the first day to begin to spin the root with actually a spinning motion of your hips and body to help you get that vibration going higher and faster. I'm just going to demonstrate that so you remember what that's like. But then as I do the chelation, I will bring that vibration up just into my hands. By the time you've learned that chelation and feel comfortable with raising that vibration, you can bring it internal so that it just comes through your hands as the high vibration. But I'm just going to keep spinning right at this moment to remind you. It's a good way to practice bringing up your vibration. So if we're vibrating and spinning the root chakra first, remembering the color red, getting more and more vibrant as we spin. So now you move the energy up into the sacral chakra. Remember, the sacral chakra is orange, and as it spins and opens, it becomes brighter and brighter orange. So feel that spinning as well as the root still spinning. Now with your next breath, bring your attention up to the solar chakra, which is right at the solar plexus. The color is yellow, and as it spins and opens, it becomes a brighter and brighter, vibrant yellow. So spinning the yellow of the solar chakra, opening, expanding. With the next breath now, bring your attention up to the heart chakra, right in the middle of the chest at the base of the breastbone, the heart chakra. Remember, the heart chakra has the color green. So as you come to the heart, feel that vibration of green expanding, getting brighter, and remembering those important qualities of the heart chakra: compassion, innate harmony, healing presence, and unconditional love. With the next breath, move up to the throat chakra, right at the base of the throat. So feel that chakra spinning with that blue color, the sky blue color, getting brighter, spinning and opening, expanding. All the chakras are spinning up to the fifth one now at the throat. With the next breath, bring your attention up to the brow, right in the center of your forehead. Remember, the brow chakra is indigo, so you're spinning and opening the brow chakra. You can just feel the energy vibration building as you do this. So moving up to the seventh chakra, which is violet, and it goes violet up to white as it spins. So now all of your 7 chakras are spinning, expanded, opening. You feel that high vibration through your body, and it really is helpful sometimes to actually do the spinning to feel that vibration increasing, just for your practice. Then the next part of the hara alignment, with the chakras still spinning, your hara line in place, you go to that deeper dimension called the core star, which is right in the center of your body, just a couple inches above the navel. The core star is that divine essence, that radiance of divinity that's within each person. And so as you look within for the core star, it begins to shine out in all directions through your body, 360 degrees. So you feel that divine light expanding out, first filling the physical body, all the cells, all the organs, expanding out into the first layer, which is the etheric close to the body. Then with the next breath, feel it go out into the emotional layer, that second layer. Next breath out to the mental layer, the third layer. Then the core star continues out to the fourth or astral layer, on out to the fifth, the etheric template, then to the sixth, the celestial, and to the seventh layer of the field, the etheric template. So now the core star is expanded through all 7 layers of your field. Your chakras are spinning, your hara line is in place, You've reset the intention for the highest and best for that person on the table. And so now we flow right into the chelation technique. So I'm going to take my thumbs and put them on the solar reflex points on the bottom of the feet. Remember that solar reflex point is just a little bit above the center of the foot. So it's very important that you put your thumbs right at the solar reflex point in the center of the foot. And as you're breathing and spinning the energy, you begin to then radiate this energy with your own chelation of your own energy field out to the client on the table. Chelation has the intention of balancing and clearing the energy field. And now as I'm doing this, I'm bringing my vibration just into my internal awareness so that the vibration is coming through my hands, which you can see, but I don't have to keep spinning my body. We still encourage people to spin when they don't feel the high vibration, but once you sense that vibration, you can bring it totally internal and let it come through your hands. So chelation came from the word keel, which means to claw out. Again, this term was taught by Rosalind Breer, and it was developed because this high vibration they found could really shorten the time needed for healing because it clears and charges the field as though you're blowing up a balloon. Clears and charges the field. It's very important. So the intention of the chelation is a bit different than when you do the chakra connection, which is to balance and connect the chakras. This balances but also clears. So this first position was with my thumbs on the solar reflex points. The next position, I'm going to move to her left foot and ankle with the palm of my hand against the soul chakra. Again, I'm feeling that vibration, that clearing coming through me as that high vibration maintains within my energy field. I continue that internal spinning with the intention of clearing and charging the field. And this clears and charges just through the first 4 layers of the field. So each position of the chelation we hold approximately a minute. I will be speeding this up a little bit for demonstration purposes. Now we move to the other foot and ankle. So the sequence is a bit different than what you learned with the chakra connection. We start with one foot and then move to the other foot. Again, the palm of the hand is against the soul chakra of the foot. And I'm holding the soul chakra in the ankle. At each position, an important part of your awareness of your energy is that your energy hands, your etheric hands, are going to sink in through their layers of energy field and connect deeply to their energy field. After you do that right foot and ankle, then you move around the table and you put your hands on the ankle and the knee of the leg away from you. I'm feeling my etheric hands sinking in, and as I breathe, I begin to feel that energy building, the energy of clearing, building almost like a wave. You feel it increasing, building. Make sure you're breathing. It helps to have your feet spread apart for a good foundation. Building, high vibration, comes to a peak, and then that energy wave begins to diminish. So this is what we feel for. When the energy wave begins to diminish, then you start to be aware that this energy in this particular place of the body is coming to completion. Then you move to the leg closest to you, and I'm on the right leg, the ankle and the knee. Again, I take a breath, sink in with my etheric hands, and allow the flow to build. Building to a peak. Remembering the intention to clear and charge the energy field. This is taking this energy work to a higher level with this high intensity spin within you that really works with clearing. It's almost like doing a chakra connection and a magnetic clearing at the same time. So it is very profound work. Then you move to the knee and the hip of the leg away from you. One hand is on the knee, and the other hand is right at the top of the leg where the leg joins the hip. It doesn't have to be way over to the side of the hip. It's right at the top where the leg joins the hip. Again, I'm feeling that energy building, the clearing, charging, spinning energy building to a peak underneath my hands. Make sure I'm breathing. I'm staying very present for the person on the table. We really encourage students in level 3 to keep their eyes open as they do this work, because you want to be checking in always with the person on the table visually to make sure that it looks like they're doing okay. Then you move to the knee and the hip of the leg closest to you. Breathe, sink in, feel your etheric hands going deeply in, and feel that energy flow beginning to build. Remembering to breathe, checking in with the client on the table. Remembering to keep a good stance so that you're not bending over the table or feeling poor body mechanics. You want to be comfortable with this energy flow. The vibration is coming through my hands very clearly, vibrating. The peak now is beginning to diminish. And we wait until it feels like it's complete to move our hands. With the next position, the lower hand goes to the hip and the upper hand goes to the sacral chakra. And the upper hand is going to stay on the sacral chakra actually for 4 positions. So you sink in deeply, allow that flow through your hands, feel the vibration of that energy wave beginning to build. Stronger and stronger to a peak. When you first start your chelation, you're going to notice that the client's vibration is going to be a little different than yours. So to begin with, we actually attune with the client's vibration, and then through our chelation, we begin to lift their vibrations so that it raises their vibration and clears the energy. So as I'm at this point, the sacral chakra, it's important for me to check in with my own sacral chakra and make sure that it's clear, open, spinning, because it's communicating to her sacral chakra. So now the next position, I move my hand from the right hip to the left, right at the juncture of the leg and the hip, continuing to sink in with my etheric hands, feeling that vibration coming through as that energy wave, clearing and charging, builds to a peak. Remembering to breathe, staying present. Now, keeping my upper hand still on the sacral, I'm going to move my other hand to the root, but I allow the energy to come right back to my hand, and then I move with my fingers pointing down just above the knees so that the palm of my hand is directing my palm chakra energy up into her root. And at this point, it's important for me to recheck with my root chakra, make sure that it's open, vibrant, spinning, giving my client the message that the root chakra is to be cleared, open, vibrant. Sometimes if there's areas that there is energy congestion, you will need to hold it there a little bit longer for that clearing. But usually the timing is about a minute. And now with the next position, because I will be moving both hands, I allow the energy under my hand that's holding the sacral as well as the root to come back up to my palms and move the lower hand under the upper hand of the sacral and the upper hand to the solar chakra. Still vibrating, expanding, clearing. I'm now up to the solar chakra. Remember the color yellow. Check in with your own solar chakra, that it's keeping a bright yellow spinning color in vibration to communicate with her solar chakra. Some people have described chelation as working almost like a centrifuge. You know how a centrifuge spins and separates the blood cells. And so chelation is a spinning high vibration that actually spins out and clears any toxins, any debris, and helps to charge the field. So now with the next position, I bring my lower hand from the sacral underneath the upper, that's at the solar, up to the solar, and my upper hand to the heart. At the heart chakra, I always like to pause again to remember the intention that we've set, the client and myself, for her goals for healing and for just maintaining unconditional loving presence for her. I'm checking in with my own heart chakra at this point, making sure it's clear and vibrant, a nice vibrant green color. Spinning, feeling that energy building to a peak as it clears and charges the field. Then with the next step, you slide your lower hand to the heart, your upper hand to the throat. And remember, we don't touch the throat or lay our hand on the throat. You can do it either over the base of the throat, or you could slide your hand underneath the throat. Either way will work. So now I'm allowing the energy to sink in and the vibration to build and clear at the heart and the throat. Remembering the blue vibration of the throat, taking the assessment of my own throat chakra to make sure it's clear and vibrant and expanded, because that's what's communicating to my client on the table. Throat chakra, clear, vibrant. After you get to the throat chakra and you hold that for that time that feels correct, allowing the energy then to subside, coming back to your hands so you can move. You move to a position at the head of the table with a hand on either shoulder. So at this point you're still chelating, so you're still letting that vibrational spin come through you. The chelation is at the shoulders, but it's chelating the energy of the arms at this point. Feeling that energy wave building, vibration building, building to a peak. Remember to breathe. So after we've completed the chelation at the shoulders, this is when we're going to go to a still point and come up to the cheeks with your palms right at the temples and your fingers right along the cheeks. And you can stop your spinning, although your internal vibration will still remain very strong and high. But the point here is to come to a stillness, a completion. You've now cleared and charged the first 4 layers of the field. That's the etheric layer, the emotional layer, the mental layer, and the astral layer. So that completes the chelation. In the level 3 class, we teach spinal cleansing right after the chelation as one of the important pieces for you to practice. But then on the second day, when you do the full healing sequence, we instruct the students at this point to go right into the 5th level interventions. So I'm going to demonstrate the 5th level interventions to keep things in a perfect sequence that we recommend as you work with a client, and I will demonstrate the spinal cleansing when I turn her over. The first 5th level intervention that we teach is one called etheric template clearing. This technique was actually demonstrated to Janet by an Australian healer by the name of Rod Campbell. Janet adapted it a bit and brought it into this curriculum. And at this point, because we've cleared the first 4 layers of the field, we're working with the 5th etheric template. But our hands go in close to the body and then begin to move out through all the layers. You can do this with your palms down, as I'm doing right now, or you can do it with palms up. Either way is just fine and very effective, whether your palms are down or up. The important part is for you to feel those various layers of the energy field. There are very many minute lines and pieces of the energy field in multitudes beyond the 7 layers that I've talked about, just little fine lines in each layer. It's almost like you're smoothing your hands through someone's hair and you're combing out any tangles. So you put your hands down close to the body and you bring up your hands with light, taking out any tangles, any places of congestion, feeling for where your hands might be led to do more work. You let the energy guide you on this. There's not one right way to start with your hands or right place. You just go where the energy leads you. But you do want to cover the whole body to feel that energy flow and to make sure that it is all clear, all smooth. Your hands up and out. Again, palms can be up, like this, or they can be down. But I'm moving through the field and bringing my hands up and out, just taking out any little places that might be congested, almost as though I'm brushing snarls or tangles out of hair. You don't want to do this too fast. About this speed is good, but allow the energy to be your guide completely as to where to go. It feels better now over Sierra's throat and upper chest than when I first did the assessment, but I just feel as though I'm drawn to do a little bit more work in this part of her body. Etheric template clearing close to the body, so your fingers actually go into that first etheric field and then clear all the way out through the layers of the field. Clearing, smoothing until you feel it's all cleared, all complete. So that's etheric template clearing. Another 5th level technique is called spiritually guided healing. And this one is where your hands are led to some part of the body where they're held there while higher level work is being done. We usually don't demonstrate this because it's not something that we can pre-plan, but just to let you know that as you're doing the work, even possibly during the chelation, your hands might be led, for instance, over a chakra or over a part of the body, and it'll feel like your hands become stuck there. When this happens, this is to let you know that there's a higher level of healing coming through. We call it spiritually guided healing because this is where we invite in any guides or high vibrational spirits to come and help us with this work. So when that happens, the energy goes through your hands and you just hold your hands there until it feels complete, until you get a sense of release. So again, I'm not demonstrating the spiritually guided healing in actuality here, but I'm telling you how it can happen. And so if you feel like your hands are drawn to an area and to be held there, you'll just know that that's spiritually guided healing. The third 5th level intervention that I want to demonstrate for you is called the lymphatic drain. The lymphatic drain is for clearing congestion from the lymphatic system. It is a very profound treatment. It's a full body treatment. It has a specific pattern that you go through, which I will demonstrate for you. And it's different than lymphatic massage that some of you might have experienced because it's all hands off the body. It's all done in the energy field. It's considered a 5th level technique because you're working at that higher template level, although your hands are going to be closer to the body. So you start this, and this is a technique that is totally Janet Menken's technique. So she taught us this technique, full body again, both front and back. So you start at the heart level first, remembering that the lymph system comes from the outer part of the body and brings that lymphatic fluid clearing up to the heart. So we move against that flow, and so we start with our hands over the chest first, and it's like a raking, a bit like what you learned with magnetic clearing. You extend the etheric fingers so that they connect with the layers of the body, and you visualize that you are beginning to clear the flow of the lymphatic fluid. We sometimes describe it as like backhoeing or bringing a strainer against a flow of fluid that might have debris in it, and that you're bringing that debris out. So your etheric fingers are raking against the flow and taking away any congestion in that lymphatic system. So with that first movement, the first raking, you're over the chest and the lower chest, the upper chest, and that includes the shoulder. This is a very good technique for anyone who has challenges of their lymphatic system. So for instance, anybody who has inflammatory disease going on, autoimmune disease, heart disease, cancer, any of those things, chronic illness that affect the lymphatic system. So you continue this until it feels very clear. And if you were working with someone who perhaps had breast cancer and had a mastectomy, you might be drawn to spend much more time on the chest. The second part of this lymphatic drain, the second section, is to take their arm up if possible, if they can move it up. Start under the arm and off the elbow. There's a lot of lymph glands under the axilla, which is the underarm, so we want to be sure and clear any congestion from the lymph under the arm. So you're coming up under the side and off the elbow, clearing under the arm, the axilla. Again, these are described as brisk strokes, but you don't want to go so fast that you're really not catching the energy with your fingers. So I'm demonstrating a speed that feels like it works well for me, and I just want you to see what that is. And then you start above the elbow and move off the hand. So that's the next step of this lymphatic drain. Above the elbow and off the hand. Now, if you're working with someone who perhaps did have a mastectomy and could not put their arm up, then you would just do the underarm by pulling their arm out a little bit and reaching your fingers underneath. So you can always make it work. Just have to be a little bit creative sometimes with the positioning of the body. So now we've done this whole first arm and chest, and we're going to do the upper abdomen now. So starting raking from the midline down, and a little bit at an angle now because the flow is coming up to the heart, and you're raking against that flow of lymphatic fluid, against the flow, taking any of the congestion out, letting your etheric fingers rake that out, smoothing it. This sometimes takes a long time if you're working with someone who is actually in the process of disease and they have a lot of congestion, and you'll feel it. Once it starts to clear, your fingers get lighter and the energy field gets smoother. So now I'm moving to the other side and starting with the upper left quadrant. Again, the same raking with your etheric fingers, going in deeply, imagining that you are collecting any debris or congestion and pulling it away from the flow of the lymphatic fluid, which is coming back to the heart. So I'm doing the upper chest, the breasts, and off the shoulder. Again, if you were working with someone who was suffering from a cancer in this area of their body, you would probably need to stay quite a bit longer than I'm going to demonstrate. I'm just showing you the various sequence of this lymphatic drain so it's clear in your mind. So after you do the chest, then you move to that position where you take their arm, put it up if it's comfortable for them, start under the arm. Be sure and get your etheric fingers into the underarm or axilla and coming off the elbow. So up under the arm, axilla, off the elbow. Clearing, sweeping. Continuing until it feels very clear and you don't feel any vibration or pull on your fingers. All of this is done with your hands off the body in the energy field. And then from above the elbow to off the hand. As we shared this with people over the years, we found that many clients and patients said that their joints felt better after having lymphatic drain. So Janet did change the technique a little bit from the very beginning, the way she taught it, so that we actually spend a little more time going over the joints. Some of the joints get cleared a couple of times. So once you've done the chest and the arm, then as we did on the right side, I'm going to do the upper abdomen, and I'm doing it at an angle with my fingers coming at an angle from the midline down. Again, you're pulling away from the flow as the lymph is moving up to the heart. Continuing this raking until it feels clear and smooth. No more prickles, no more congestion on your fingers. Now on this side then, you move into the hip and the groin. So you're starting, one hand is more over the lateral hip and one hand is over the lower abdomen, and the energy is catching the energy of the lower abdomen and the groin and the hip. There are a lot of lymphatic nodes right in the groin area, so you want to make sure you comb and rake those very clear. Another patient that I've had a lot of success with lymphatic drain, several patients with lymphoma, because it does affect their lymphatic system. And even once they go into remission, I find it's very important to, on a regular basis, approximately monthly, do a lymphatic drain to make sure the lymphatic system is staying very clear. So we're bringing it down off the hip and the groin. The next step is to start with the hip again and move off the knee. So you can see that we double up on those joints. So the hip is getting cleared again, and now we're raking over the knee, coming down and off the knee. We're moving this direction because the lymph moves from the legs up to the heart. Then we start above the knee, so the knee gets a little more clearing, and off the foot and the ankle. So above the knee, sweeping off the foot and the ankle. Feel like this leg is really clear. That's when you can go back around to the right side and continue clearing from the lower abdomen and groin down to the foot. So after you've finished the quadrants on the left side of the body and then that left leg, Then you move back to the right side and you start with the lower abdomen and the hip where you left off. So we go right quadrant, left quadrant, and then lower left quadrant, leg, and then back to the lower right quadrant, back and forth. So it's the objective is to clear uniformly as you go down the body. So I'm clearing now with that hip, that right hip, and over the groin and the lower abdomen on this right side. It really doesn't matter if you start on the left and go to the right or start on the right and go to the left as I've done, but I'm just doing this because this follows the diagram of your technique book so that you won't get confused. So once you feel like that lower abdomen quadrant is clear and drained of any congestion, then you start with the hip and go off the knee. So I'm now going hip off the right knee. Clearing with the etheric fingers, lymphatic drain, clearing congestion away in that lymphatic flow that goes back up to the heart. And this really does begin to feel much clearer and smoother as you do it. Once you feel that upper leg is clear, then you start over the knee and off the foot. Over the knee, off the foot and ankle. Clearing until you feel it smooth. Lymphatic system gets more and more clear energetically until you feel that whole area is clear, and that completes the lymphatic drain on this side, and then you go up to the head and neck. So to finish the lymphatic drain on the front, we put our hands right over the heart and come up over the head and sweep off. And then I go from the heart to the sides of the head, and then I go back over the center of the head. Now some people like to just do one side a number of times like this, and then they move to the other side of the head and neck. So either one is a very good way to do it. It doesn't matter. I personally just like to come up over the center of the head with my fingers, and then I like to start at the heart and go around the sides. Remember, there's a lot of lymph nodes in the neck and around the head. So this takes a little clearing and a little raking with your etheric fingers. So this then completes the lymphatic drain on the front. Janet was very clear that she wanted the lymphatic drain done on both the front and the back so that it totally cleared the body. Now that is your ideal way to do it, is turn them over, and I'm going to demonstrate on Sierra how to do it on her back. But if you're working on with someone who's in the hospital with many tubes and IVs, and you can't turn them over, then you do another lymphatic drain on the front with the intention of the energy clearing through the back. So that's how we do it, but you would do it twice on the front if you can't turn them over. So once you've turned your client over, so she's in the prone position, she or he, then you begin, just as you did on the front, with the upper quadrant, which is over the upper back and the shoulder. Again, your fingers are curved a little bit like rakes with your etheric fingers deep through all the layers and catching any congestion, draining it off that's in the lymphatic system that's coming back to the heart. So you're moving across the shoulder, across the upper back with your fingers raking, and a brisk but not too fast speed as you do this. Once you have done good clearing in this upper back area, then you start, as you did on the front, under the arm, but you do not have to move the arm like we did on the front. Just catch the energy under that arm, the axilla area with your fingers, and clear off the elbow on this side. Under the arm, off the elbow. Under the arm, off the elbow. I kind of start with my fingers about the waist level as I go up under the arm and off the elbow. Again, you may have to do this many more times if you're working with someone who's had breast surgery or any other kind of cancer that is dealing with the upper part of their body. And then you start above the elbow and off the hand. Off the whole lower arm as you start above the elbow and off the hand. Clearing that arm completely now. Then you go to the second part of this upper quadrant, which is the mid-back. And you're raking the energy a little bit at an angle, starting at the midline, the spine, coming down to just about hip level and clearing that lymphatic system in this mid part of the back. Continuing to clear until it feels very smooth. After you have cleared this part of the first side, then you're going to go around to the other side so that you get uniform clearing. So I'll go around to the other side. The lymphatic drain, as I proceed with it on the back, I've finished the upper quadrant on the other side, and now I'm doing the upper quadrant on this right side. And again, fingers curved like rakes, really the same sequence as you did on the front, except now when you do under the arm, you don't really have to move the arm as you did on the front. Set your intention for getting under the arm and sweeping off the elbow, using your raking fingers, your etheric fingers, and clearing that lymphatic system under the arm and off the elbow. Then above the elbow and off the hand. So again, these joints are getting some nice extra clearing with your fingers moving over them several times in different positions. Elbow off the hand. Once you feel that that arm is clear, you go to the back. More of the upper back now, where your hands are starting at the midline, at the spine. Your etheric fingers are like rakes. They're pulling against the flow of the lymphatic system, clearing away any congestion. From the midline down, a little bit at an angle as you do this, so that you're coming down close to the hip. And so now we've cleared both quadrants, both upper quadrants, and so now we're going to start on the lower quadrants, and we'll just stay on the same side as we start to go off the hip and the groin. So imagine that your fingers are going through, but they're catching any energy of congestion over the hip, in the same position that you did the hip and the groin on the front. You're going to be moving your hands like that on the back, and more of an angle now as you're moving down the body. So it's lower abdomen and hip and groin that we're clearing, but we're clearing through the back, so we make sure that the whole system gets very clear. So once you feel like you have cleared this lower quadrant on this side, then you start with the hip and go off the knee. Hip and off the knee. Remember, brisk strokes, but not too fast. Etheric fingers extended down with the intention of clearing the lymphatic flow as it goes back to the heart. Any energy congestion gets cleared as you do this. Hip down off the knee. Except we're doing it on the back here. So the back of the knee. Then you start above the knee, and we're going to go over the knee and off the foot and ankle. So again, above the knee, off the foot and ankle. Again, it gives the knee extra clearing because you're clearing in two different positions over the knee. Really helps clear the joints. Sweep as you move down. The lower leg starting just above the knee. So then you will, when this feels cleared, then you go back to the first side and begin again at that hip quadrant. So after you finish clearing on this side, the whole upper quadrant, the hip and the leg, then you come back to the first side, which is actually your left side on the back here. And I'm going to start now with the lower abdomen and off the hip, which is actually the lower back, clearing through the lower back all the way to the abdomen again with my fingers raking, moving briskly, draining any congestion from that lymphatic system, the energy of the lymphatic system as it moves back to the heart. Clearing off the hip, clearing the low back. Then we move from the hip down off the back of the knee. Hip to the back of the knee. Just feeling the energy getting more and more clear as you drain the lymphatic system of any congestion with your fingers. Starting with the hip, off the back of the knee. And then you start above the back of the knee and go down off the foot and the ankle. You continue this until the energy system feels very clear. As I said before, it may take a lot longer when you're working with someone who has inflammation or chronic illness. After I've finished this leg, I have now done the complete body except for the head and the neck. So now I'm going to go and finish up over the head and neck as I did on the front. So to complete the lymphatic drain on the back, you start behind the heart and use your etheric fingers pulling up over the top of the head and then some along the sides of the head, remembering about the lymphatic glands that are all the way around the neck and the head. So I like to start in the middle, up over the top, and then doing the sides. But you also have a choice of doing it like this, one side a number of times, and then the other side a number of times. Either way will be just as effective. But you're wanting to clear over the head and neck. That's very important to be a complete lymphatic drain. So after you've completed the lymphatic drain on the back, which included the head and neck, then you're going to come around and I am going to demonstrate the spinal cleansing. If the person did not need a lymphatic drain, and once you turn the person over, you would not have to do anything before the spinal cleansing. I wanted to show you how to do the lymphatic drain front and back right together, because that is the way it's ideally done, front and back together. But now I'm going to demonstrate the spinal cleansing, which is a very wonderful way to clear the energy of the spine. And I'm going to start with my hands on the lower back and palpating to feel for the foramens, which are openings in the sacral bone where the nerves come through. And as you just palpate the back, massage a little bit with your hands, you will start to feel a little place that's kind of soft, like a little opening, and that is those are the foramens where the nerves come through. And you're going to start the first step of the spinal cleansing using your thumbs. You're going to begin to massage lightly the sacral foramens. Remember that the energy on the right goes clockwise, the energy on the left goes counterclockwise, just with level 2 techniques. So you start spinning the energy at the foramens, and then without lifting your thumbs, you move up the back along either side of the spine, doing the spinning with your thumbs all the way up to the top of the spine and off the top of the head. The second part of the spinal cleansing is taking your hands together, hooking your thumbs so that they're on top, so your palms are directing energy, a cone of energy, right into the back of the sacrum. I always like to spread my feet apart at this point to make sure I can connect in with my sacral energy as well as connecting with the client's sacral energy. You start to circle your hands over the sacrum and feel yourself connecting with their sacral energy through the back. Once it feels like you've got a good connection and you're opening that energy nicely, then you begin to speed up that spinning with your hands, and you clear up the spine with your hands, again, above the spine and up over the head. Then you go back and do that sequence 2 more times. Again, the sacred number 3 is used here, so you go back to the foramens. With your thumbs, begin to massage at the foramens. How you doing? You okay, Sierra?
That's good.
Okay, good. So I'm spinning again with my right thumb going clockwise, my left thumb going counterclockwise, feeling the opening, breaking up the congestion, and then moving my thumbs up the spine with the intention of sending energy along the spine to break up any congestion that might be in the energy on either side of the spine. And when you get to the top of the spine, you clear up off the top of the head. Then you go back to with your palms together over the sacrum. Begin to circle the energy over the sacrum until you feel like you're connecting. Now, in the Hands of Light book, Barbara Brennan likes to use the vibration of color with this technique. This is an option. It's not required, but at this point, she suggests that you use the vibration of red, which helps to break up congestion. And remember, red-orange is a good color vibration for the sacral. So I like to visualize a red-orange color at this point, coming from my hands, helping to break up the congestion. And then she advises switching to a blue laser as you spin and clear up the spine. So I just like to visualize that blue laser coming from my palms up and out and over the top of the head. Those color vibrations are optional. Third time now for spinal cleansing, you start at the foramens again, circling with your thumbs, breaking up congestion, and by the third time, it feels smoother than it did at the beginning. Smoother and more open, and then you bring those little circles up the spine, and this doesn't have to be like a deep massage. It's on the surface, but touching the body. When you get to the top of the neck, you bring your hands up over the top of the head, and then you go back to right over the sacrum. Begin one more time to circle, spinning that energy clockwise. Remember clockwise at this point, till you feel like it's really open, really radiant, and then set the intention for cleansing up the spine. And you may or may not want to use the blue laser, but cleanse up the spine with a faster spin as you go up over the spine and up over the top of the head. So that is how we do the spinal cleansing. 3 sequences. Small circles up the back, touching the larger circles in the etheric field, clearing up the spine. So we teach 3 deep cleansing techniques. We do it at this point in the back, although these techniques could be done on the front or the back. The first one is double hands forming a cone over any area that is in need. And I did ask Sierra, and she thought it would be nice to have some deep cleansing right in this part of her back. So you can either do this with your hands on the body, or you can hold your hands off the body. But again, your hands are in this position where the palm chakras are directing energy. So it's double hands right over the area that is in need. And you're sending a cone of energy deeply into the body, holding your hands still while you're doing this. So sensing that energy, I just hold until this feels complete. The second deep cleansing technique that you can use, we call above and below. So I'm just going to slide one hand under her at this point and one hand above. So your hands are right above each other, one below, one above. And you're sending energy back and forth, almost like you're pushing with one hand, pulling with the other. I like to think of this sort of like energy flossing, back and forth in a specific spot in the body. The energy flossing is not a technique that you want to write down. It's just the way I picture it. So back and forth, hands above and below, pushing and pulling the energy, clearing it front to back. This is a really nice technique for releasing any deep tension, any deep congestion in any part of the body. Then the third cleansing technique is called etheric fingers. With the etheric fingers, we bring our fingers together. Etherically, we go down into the body and we scoop any congestion up and out. So bring your fingers in, scoop up and out. Etheric fingers. So if there's additional congestion, sometimes I find this is very helpful over a throat chakra if someone's having a lot of congestion in your throat, scooping down deeply and out. And wherever you do etheric fingers, I think it's very important that you do a little hands-on afterwards to refill that area. Whenever you pull energy out, it's very good to reintegrate with your hands held still on any of those areas before you move on. Now at this point, you can do any of your techniques from level 1 at this 5th level of healing. For instance, if your client had some hip pain, you could do some ultrasound over that hip, or you could do a pain drain, or you could do a little laser. You're not going to do a full technique from level 1, a full body technique like the chakra connection. And you're not going to do level 2 back techniques, but you can do the pain management techniques that you learned in level 1 at this 5th level of work. So if that's needed anywhere on the back, a pain drain, ultrasound, laser, you may do it while they're still face down. So now I just want to smooth the field before I turn Sierra back over and finish our full healing sequence. So I like to use my hands in motion, just sweeping through the field and making sure that everything is smooth before we go back to the completion of our full healing sequence. Okay. So now, before we finish up with 6th and 7th level interventions, we do our post-treatment energy assessment. We always want to do this before 6th and 7th level because once you do the 6th and 7th level, you don't want to go back in and do any more work. So you want to make sure everything is open and balanced before you do that. So I'm just going to recheck quickly all the chakras. You can see that the chakras are a little bit more open than they were at the beginning. Even though they were open at the beginning, I see a much wider swing with my energy stethoscope, my pendulum this time. So I'm checking the root chakra now. Sacral. Solar. And even though these were open at the beginning, they're much more expansive now. Over the heart. Remember, the heart was just a little erratic at the beginning, and now it's nice and smooth and open. Checking the throat. Very nice and open compared to the beginning. The brow. And the crown. Doing a quick check again on the right wrist, the right elbow, the right shoulder, left wrist, left elbow, and left shoulder. Then you want to do another hand scan to make sure the energy field feels smooth and balanced, that there's no more congestion that you pick up under your hands. And I always encourage students, even if you're not sure that you're feeling the energy field, keep practicing it. As you practice and go to beginner's mind and just ask, what does this energy field feel like? You're going to begin to be more and more sensitive to what the energy field feels like. So Sierra feels very smooth and balanced. Her chakras are open, so I'm ready to go to the 6th and 7th level. To begin the 6th level intervention, you place your hands with a little bit of a triangle open over their brow chakra so that you can see the brow chakra through that triangle of your hands. It's very important as you begin the 6th level intervention that you connect with their heart, brow, and crown to your heart, brow, and crown. This is upper level work. It's very spiritual and it's really quite profound. So you want to make sure that you're in your heart, you've opened your brow and connected with her, and you have a good flow of connection with your crown to her crown. Heart, brow, and crown. Hands over the brow, and then you begin to let the energy lift your hands. This 6th level healing is where we invite in, again, any guides, any angels, however you want to name them, additional energy helpers, to do any additional work that needs to be completed with this person. So you are holding the energy, and it forms a column of light under your hands and begins to lift your hands up higher and higher up to the 6th layer of the field. It's like a feeling of your arms floating up with no effort. You're not making it happen, you're allowing it to happen. You keep breathing. You keep your eyes open so that you can watch the face of the client. It's not unusual during this part of the healing that sometimes people have very profound spiritual images or feelings. They might have tears. So you just hold your hands with this column of light supporting you up at the 6th celestial level of the field. And you hold that until you feel you are no longer being supported. That's your cue that the rest of the healing is complete. When you do feel that that's complete, and you might end up holding quite a bit longer than I'm demonstrating, you let your hands float up to the 7th layer, and the fingers stretch out so that your etheric fingers extend all the way out to above her feet. So imagine that I have light fingers coming out of my fingertips, extending all the way around, out over the 7th layer of the field, out to her feet. And then you just gently move your hands to smooth this 7th layer. Remember, this is like a golden egg on the outside of the field. The etheric layer of the field. It's very fine golden lines. So with your etheric fingers, you're setting the intention that as you go slowly around this big bubble of light, you're integrating its boundaries, you're clearing any little tears that might be in it, and bringing it all together into a beautiful golden bubble of light. And you go all the way down beneath their head and complete with your hands together. Then you move to the side, and you just be aware of this big golden bubble of light now surrounding the person on the table. I like to hold my hands out and just sense that it's very intact, it's very smooth, and that it's all complete. I then imagine that the light from my hands is actually going out in the circumference of the circle. Again, just completing the integration of this field. Any healing that needs to be done in this level. And then you begin to smooth the bubble so that you can step out of the bubble and honor the person and release from the connection you've had with them, with their energy field. It's very important to release yourself. You've been very connected during the healing time. You step out, you release yourself. And at this point, because this is very deep healing, you let that person have a little time to relax, to integrate this deep healing before you ground them. After you feel that the client has had enough time to integrate this deep healing experience, then you can move to their feet and help them with grounding. So I'm just going to begin by massaging Sierra's lower legs. And Sierra, you can take a breath all the way down into your feet now. See yourself being totally back present in your body. Sense my hands on your feet and ankles, helping you to be very present and grounded again. And whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. And then I'm just going to ask her to sit up, and you can swing your legs over to that side. And this is the last step, the 9th step, called evaluation and feedback. So can you say a few words about how you're feeling, Sierra?
Yeah, I feel very relaxed. I have no upper back or neck pain at all. I feel a sense of serenity and balance, and very peaceful at this moment. Feels good.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeing this client several times, part of the follow-up then is to plan your next session and perhaps give them some things that they could do to help themselves in between the sessions. For instance, making sure they know how to do the self-chakra connection and encouraging them to do that regularly, or learning how to boost their chakras themselves. So our goal is to empower our clients for their own healing. So that's the last step of the full healing sequence. I hope you've enjoyed this review of Healing Touch Level 3 techniques. And I hope you will practice them so that you become more proficient and comfortable with using these techniques. And this will prepare you for the next level, which is level 4 of Healing Touch. In level 4, it's a longer class, and we teach you about learning about case studies and a Healing Touch practice. And to come to this level, we really have the expectation that you will be familiar with all the techniques from level 1, 2, and 3. So if you're anticipating coming to a level 4 class, please practice these techniques. And it's at this level that you become a Healing Touch Practitioner Apprentice. Please remember that the most important thing is for you to commit to your own self-development and self-healing. This will help facilitate your growth and development as a healer. For Healing Touch classes, please go to these websites: www.healingbeyondborders.org, www.healingtouchcalifornia.com, and www.healingtouchhawaii.net. I hope you will pursue your classes and that we can look forward to seeing you again soon.